Okay, I will bring to order this May 23rd, 2022 Facilities Committee meeting. First off, have approval of April 25th meeting minutes.
Motion. Second.
Any questions, comments? A little long one. All in favor?
Well, I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, on here it says when we're referring to Dr. Kersing to the, doing something, it says Mrs. Cunningham stated that the school district will not cover the cost of the plaque. Is that your opinion, the facilities committee opinion, the school board opinion, or is that a policy?
Well, we were talking to George was here, Bonhemper was here, and you weren't here. That was my opinion.
That's your opinion?
On that one, that's why it's in the minutes. Yeah, that was my
Okay, but it
opinion.
doesn't say it's your opinion, okay. Thank you.
Okay, sure. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. All right, we will move on to old business, starting with our Visa project update.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cunningham.
Sure.
The Giza project is marching along. There's not a tremendous amount of work being done right now. Most of the work that's happening right now is preparing for this summer, quite frankly. The two major items being the boiler replacements at 4 or 5 in the high school, as well as work that's happening at Marlboro to move the air handlers from pneumatic to digital, and then also all of the heat pump replacements in the high school as well. So a tremendous amount of planning happening. We're actually going to take the boilers down this week at 4 or 5, just before the holiday. Obviously we don't need them at the moment, so get a little bit of a jump there. We are talking about potentially HT Lyons, the subcontractor for Noresco, came to us and asked if they could work some second shift work in July. So I need to figure that out because, if they want to work more, that's great. That'll just, save any schedule slip that we have and, ensure that we get everything up and ready and running for the start of school next year.
Yep.
So, things are marching along. I'm hoping in maybe at the August meeting or September to show everyone the new building control system and just demo that for you. They're doing a nice job on that, and it's really coming together. A single sign-on, every school, heat maps, like I can just click on Hereford, I can see which rooms are too hot, which rooms are too cold. There's a emailing of alarms. It's really been a tremendous upgrade for us. So I'll show that to the committee once it's a little more polished.
Great, excellent. I know I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
having
I'd
that
like to
done.
see.
Yeah, very exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's
Who would
all,
ever
it's
think that that would be
3D.
exciting, but it is. Yeah, it is.
For a facilities guy, it gets me excited.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's
I'm
pretty
okay
good.
with that. All right, so and meetings are ongoing every 2 weeks, so we'll just keep, I zoom in on them too, so, yep, it sounds good. Everything's good. Okay, I'll move on to 11 Montgomery sidewalk repairs. How are we doing on that?
So the upgrade, or the update on that project is, we had to file for an extension.
Oh, that's right.
Because
That's right.
the mud jacking subcontractor wasn't able to mobilize in time. So Red Hill Borough gave us an extension until June 30th.
Okay. That was
which is
May
actually-
May 15th was the date. right?
Exactly, May
Yeah.
15th was the original deadline, and given its location and the amount of congestion that we have there, I think it's a blessing in disguise that we'll probably do the majority of the work when we're not, when school is out.
Yep.
And we won't have to contend with contractors on 11th Street, buses, students, and all that quagmire
Makes sense.
that could result. So I email them every 3 days, where are we, where are we, where are we? So they assured me that the slab jacking is supposed to start here soon, and then the actual slab repairs and the curb repair will follow behind.
Excellent. Anybody have any questions? No? Okay.
Sounds interesting. I'm gonna stop over one.
It's a very exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. It is. Scary, but exciting. So then we'll move over to the middle school basin stabilization / Varsity softball field.
Right,
Drainage.
so that project was awarded, the Basin portion of that project was awarded to Baver here in town.
Here.
All of the contract and all the paperwork is going back and forth as we speak. That project is supposed to kick off on June 13th,
Okay.
so the
Good.
Monday following the close of school, and they're telling me it's 2 to 3 weeks, so.
Okay.
They did come to me and ask if they could place the stone in the middle school parking lot, and I told them no.
Probably not a good idea.
I understand what they're trying to do, but to dump all of that stone in the parking lot and then have front-end loaders, scraping and dragging, I said, I just couldn't. So they have to come up with some other
Staging area.
whether it be in the grass or at their shop on 8th or whatever it is. That wasn't an acceptable option for.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one. Okay.
The engineer is essentially complete with the varsity softball field drainage design.
Good.
So I instructed them to do kind of both of these projects in parallel, rather than wait and then start the varsity softball after we, fingers crossed, get the MPDES permit terminated. We're ready to go on the drainage project, so the drainage project, so we'll, when we're fairly sure that the permit will be terminated, we'll go out to bid for that. And,
Do we have any timeline of, I think we talked about it before, but how long it takes to get that terminated, actually?
Hopefully not long.
we, it's based on conservation districts, so I've already talked to the engineer about trying to get on their schedule for the end of June.
Is that still
or-
Eric Konzelman?
I think it is.
Okay.
So there was a list of things that we were deficient in. The major one was the basin, also the maintenance of the inlets along Montgomery Avenue, the famous grass and the hula hoop rule and all of that. So the plan is to try to have all of that wrapped up by the end of June and then get the conservation district out.
Okay.
And then fingers crossed, we pass and then they can terminate the permit, so.
While
And
we're
then-
still talking about requirements on, I know it's Upper Hanover, what are we doing with the trees, the dead trees?
Yep, so I have the quote. It was about a little over $4,000. We went out and looked at the trees. We picked out 6 that we thought were dead. Well, they were definitely dead. There were 2 of the, I forget basically I have some pictures of the pine trees that from, this high up were full and very, very much alive. From here down, and the landscaper, and I agree with him, I think it's deer damage. I
Probably.
think they're just eating the bottom of the trees, but they're not dead.
We should be sprinkling baby powder around them.
Right.
That works.
Yeah.
It works.
I've heard of that.
It does work.
So we're gonna propose to not replace those 2, and I can show you some pictures after the meeting, but the options we had were to replace them this summer and then have to put the bags on them and water them.
Play with them.
Or the township said, well, why don't you just replace them in September?
Okay.
And we said, yeah, we'll do that,
Okay.
just to
I won't keep.
prevent
looking
us
for
from
new
having
trees.
to fill up the gator bags every week.
Yeah.
So that's the plan with those.
Okay.
Quote-
Yeah, just
quote is
thought
in
about it.
hand.
Okay. All right, so now that I interrupted with that, anything about the basin stabilization, softball field stuff? You guys good?
Yep.
Okay. All right, elementary projector project.
So that project, those bids came in last Friday.
Yep.
There were 2 bids. The low bid was a company by the name of S&S Electrical Services out of Warrington, PA. $93,564. That coupled with the small amount of architect fees that we needed from Muhlenberg Green to offer the bid package, we're still under budget.
Good.
So we're good to go there. The next, the second low bid, I think, was either 115 or 117, so it was
Yeah.
almost $20,000 delta between the two.
Yeah, that's a
So,
shame too.
assuming everything checks out with their bonding and their non-collusion affidavit and all of the paperwork, that's, we'll be awarding to them. And same thing, they're supposed to start right after school's out.
Okay. Do you remember how many projectors, just in case you guys don't remember?
It's about 90 classrooms.
I know it's a
Yeah.
lot, yeah.
The classrooms at Hereford and Marlborough also get new whiteboards.
Right. Well, we already had them.
The whiteboards are already at 4 or 5, they're already in those classrooms. We
Right.
have all the equipment, it's all in
It's
the
just the
ring.
installation,
Yeah.
It's just the physical installation, the electrical work, the hanging of the boards, the hanging of the projectors, and the associated, cabling.
Right.
It's on the agenda for.
Right, it is on this award is on the agenda
Yes,
for this Thursday.
good.
We'll get you guys the draft of the agenda. We're still waiting on something for it today, so
Okay.
get it in the morning.
Okay. Any other questions about that? Okay. All right, move on to the facilities feasibility study.
So, as we mentioned, that RFP is out on the street. We had the pre-proposal meeting last Friday here. It was
During the thunderstorm.
During the thunderstorm. It was well attended. I just looked at the sign-in sheet. There were 13 different architectural and engineering firms
Yep.
that were represented at that meeting. This Wednesday, I'm giving building tours to folks that pre-register, and I've received, I think, 3 emails so far from
Okay.
firms that are not familiar with the district, so it makes sense that they're wanting to walk through the buildings. And those proposals are due June 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a very tight week, the following week, evaluating those proposals and inviting 2 or 3 firms in for shortlisted interviews, with the goal being to put a motion on the board agenda on the 16th
Yep.
of June.
It was a lively bunch of people. They were good questions. and-
Yeah, they were nice.
There were a couple,
Nice.
yep.
Yep. And they were dry, and then it
Except the
stopped
last
raining
guy.
before we left.
He was all wet.
The last guy walked in, he was soaking wet.
Yeah.
It was almost like, okay, the meeting's over. Like,
Right.
man, like, it was-
Just the whole thing, and got soaked doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was real nice. That was a good RFP, and hopefully we'll get a good deal out of it and get us 5 and 10-year plans that are meaningful.
Right, we do
Yep.
something.
Yep, just what we need. Okay, anybody have anything on that? Okay, move us on to custodial staffing, the STAD.
Yeah, we, unfortunately, since from last meeting to this meeting, we lost 2 additional full-time custodians, one to a higher paying position at a private company, and another wanting to step away from full-time work to part-time work earlier in the morning.
Okay.
Not with us,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
unfortunately.
I know there's discussion this Thursday with regard to hourly wages, and I appreciate everybody's support on that, because it's really, we have a recruitment issue, and we also have a retention issue, so I'm hoping that's a first step in stemming the tide a little bit, and making it a little bit more attractive place to work.
Yeah.
Good news is I have a pretty healthy roster of summer custodians coming in. I think we're in like 13, 14 people range.
Good.
So that's encouraging.
I think they heard about the summer luncheon that we put on, the grill of the luncheon.
That's it,
Yeah,
yeah.
first week
Yes.
of August.
Yes, that's a major draw.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging. But to Dr. Roach's point, we have to come up with a recruitment plan, and we don't have a lot of time to get those folks in. There are, I think, 2 folks that are starting with us this summer that we're going to be evaluating for full-time employment, so hopefully they work out and we can flip them over.
good.
but we're struggling.
Yeah, I know. Well, we're gonna try to do the best we can for you. That's, I'm thinking we're all of the same mind on that one.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot. Can't run buildings if they're a mess, either. All right, so we'll work on that one. New business, so we have some.
Wait 1 minute. Could I
sure.
bring up something?
Sure.
And I don't know why it keeps disappearing. I would like to know where the status is of this recognition for Dr. Persing.
Okay, so I have a question, Doc, and so I don't want you to think that in any way that I don't think Dr. Persing is a good person, because he is. I see him a lot, actually. But, how many times were you on the board? 3?
Twice.
Oh, just twice? Okay. Was he, like, he was already way done long before you were on the board, I think?
Not way done. He was the last superintendent before I got on the board.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I just wondered why you didn't do it before, that's all.
Well, the boards that I had been on, very few of them dedicated anything or did any recognition. Since you people were on this board, you started doing it more abundantly. That's why we brought the subject up. And I don't know of anybody in this community who knows Dr. Persing, does not think that he is due some kind of recognition for the school.
I get that, and I think, and I guess, I've expressed my opinion quite a few times, and, feel free to follow or not follow or express your opinions. I just don't think the district's gonna pay for it. And it keeps changing. Well, wait a second.
Whether or not you're gonna do something,
It
or
keeps
willing to do
changing.
something.
Well, it does keep changing because while I was going through my office over the weekend, as I mentioned, I had work done at home, so I had my office torn apart and I found the original request, and it was a request for a plaque at Hereford Elementary. And now it's become, well, why don't we put the plaque at the wrestling center?
That-
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Marble.
That was
Yes,
at
I'm
Marlboro,
sorry.
but eventually, after talking to Peg and Dr. Bonnekamp and myself, they thought that it might be something in the wrestling area because there's love of wrestling.
That was George's idea,
Yeah.
actually. I had no
I
idea
don't
that
think
Tom
that's
was,
where it should be.
Yeah.
I think it should
I-
be.
I didn't know Tom was into
place
wrestling, to be
because
honest
the
with you.
things he did benefited the whole community. They benefited all the teachers who were in the district at that time. He did a tremendous things in getting the school board members educated. He had a school, or a teacher's mentors program that they went around the whole state presenting.
Yeah,
He
I
put Upper
remember.
Burke on
I know
Pennsylvania
George
map.
has also said
And
the
I
same thing.
think
I just-
somewhere he's due some recognition before he dies.
Well, does anyone have any other comments to put on it other than mine?
I'm not sure about paying for it. That's the other thing, most of the other plaques that have come through or the requests come through, people are
Well,
paying.
if it
have been
comes
paying
down
for
to
it.
that, Dr. Bonnekamp and I will pay for it.
Well,
But I think it's the board has to say if they're gonna do it, where they're gonna do it, and you ultimately are gonna have to approve the plaque. We just can't hand you a plaque.
correct. Yep, correct. I know we did that.
But this
with,
keeps disappearing
the
from the
stadium.
agenda unless
Well, that's because you
somebody's
weren't here too, so, I think the last time,
Right, and he's mentioned the 2 plaques already over at the school. So, I guess the question is, how many plaques do we want to put up with his name on? And then again, where do we want to put it?
yeah, what did you say? I have that in here.
Well,
Did you
there's
say that-
actually, his name's on 2 different plaques.
on the
over at
building
elementary.
dedications.
Building
Oh, yeah.
dedication, and there's another
Yeah.
one outside the building.
Yep, there's one at Marlboro. That's actually what it looks like. He's on that one. Keith and Alan did a little bit of snooping.
My question is,
Go ahead.
is there, like, I think at one point there was an application handed in, but
Yes.
was it
I
clear
think-
exactly what the ask was?
Right, we'd have to,
Yes, and that's what I was saying, dedication of plaque.
Yeah, but then last time it turned into the
at
wrestling
Marlboro
room.
Elementary, as he
and
was
that-
the superintendent of record.
On those building dedications, is Sandy Castle's name on them?
The first time I presented this, you said that the facility committee would go around Marlboro School and try to find out a place that would be appropriate. That's when nothing happened then, that's when the wrestling.
That was a long time ago, Doc. I don't remember to tell you the
Well,
truth.
this was in February,
February 21.
February 2020 actually is the date on this, but I don't recall hearing about this until just this year.
Yeah, I
It was
honestly don't
this year that
remember.
that I
So,
actually
I mean,
saw this.
do you,
Well, here, the applicant's signature was 12/12/2021.
well, it took a while to
I'm
get the
sorry.
actual application.
Well, you gotta make a
Form was approved
decision.
in
I mean,
2020.
Yeah, I
we moved
agree.
Sandy Castle right on through. You know, it's like,
So what is your opinion then, Peg? You wanna give me an opinion, because I'm running on my own here.
well, you know how I
I think
feel.
we need to
I think we need,
do
I
something.
think
to
the
get off
wrestling
top.
room is the place to dedicate, so.
So you mean you
The
want the
wrestling room?
wrestling room dedicated?
Yeah, if that's appropriate.
That's-
Is the wrestling room dedicated already?
Sorry?
Is there a dedication above the, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know we have those charts and stuff, that,
Yeah, I have it right here. High school library, high school auditorium, high school press box, high school
gym,
addition,
High school gym.
high school main office, high school band room, gym, baseball field, choral room.
I want a porta potty named after me.
We don't have porta potties. Yeah, I mean, it can't just be on me, because then I'll never hear the end of it.
So do we need then a new application then with the official request for the wrestling room to make this like an official thing? And then the stance is that we're not gonna pay for it. If the money's put up, then we can make it happen.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna look like the bad guy here, because it's not going to. I mean, what did we just do when we named the stadium, Keeney Stadium? How many letters, and I realized that you did send them in, there's a few. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, Melanie, is the process being followed? Those letters for Bill Keeney and those emails came in addition to. Is that part of the process, is the question?
Policy woman? Is it part of the process?
Not as
'Cause you
far
just-
as I believe. I mean, there's an application process.
Okay,
And then it's up to facilities to decide.
to decide to send it to the whole board. Actually, I think I have that here too.
it's the policy number.
Policy number
711.
701.1.
Oh, no, that's commercial advertising. I have that here too.
Facility request form is the 701.1.
Okay, I don't know if I have it.
Because that's what I'm looking at right here.
Community district facilities, yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Ferris, may I request that you simply fill out a new form, say, please amend it to renaming the wrestling room for Dr. Pershing, submit it to us, we'll bring it up again, and we will probably take it to the whole
We'll
board.
just add it to that one in my application now.
All right, so it just says, if after appropriate review, the facilities committee recommends approval of the naming request, the request shall then be presented to the board for its consideration. So let's get just a little bit more information, since that wasn't in the original. So is it an 8x10 plaque? Is it full wall size? That I don't think there were any of those details. And then we'll just bring it to if you're in agreement that it should go to the full board, we'll take it to the full board. I don't know what else to tell you.
Not to technically speak, but it is the auxiliary gym.
Right.
It serves as the wrestling room.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yes.
it's not a wrestling room, which is wrestling full-time. I got you. I'm just,
Yeah.
you know,
That was the last iteration that we heard.
I understand.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that.
Doug, could you send me another one of those applications then? Please.
I sure can.
Okay. All right. All righty. Okay, so we have that till next time, I suppose. All right, new business, service agreements, renewal, trash elevators, and mowing.
So it's the time of the year where we have to look to either renew our existing service agreements or, potentially go out to RFP again. The three that are coming due for renewal are trash, elevators, and mowing. And then there are two new ones that I'm, typically what happens is I participate as a group with 4 or 5 of the other school districts in the area. So it's usually Upper Perth, Quakertown, Penn Ridge, Palisades, and Upper Bucks Technical.
Okay.
And so far, it's served us well in terms of just bulk purchasing and being able to leverage, the quantities that we have to offer these vendors as, a group of 5. So for trash, we currently have Republic Services, and, sorry, my cough drop is making my eyes water. I just reviewed the trash proposal. So when we go out with our RFPs, we write in an option to renew for 2 additional 1-year terms.
Okay.
So we force ourselves to go out at least every 3 years.
Right.
And then we can do 3 1-year terms. Trash and elevators, as a group, we're all very satisfied with our current providers, and both of those agreements have no price increase in them.
Okay.
So we can, trash, we have 2 years left. Elevators, we have 1. So my recommendation would be to just continue on with our current service providers at no increase for trash and elevators.
Okay.
We're actually out to RFP right now for boilers and generators. Those proposals are due back in 3 days. So, assuming that they come back in, where we expect the pricing will be and the firms that we get the proposals from are reputable, I'll likely list something in June, for those awards.
Okay.
My question though is, should I be listing the renewals for trash and
What was
elevators?
What was initially approved?
I think the motion read, approve Republic Services, and then the district has the option to renew for 2 successive 1-year terms. I think that was the original motion.
Okay. I mean,
At
it
the
wouldn't hurt
district's
to do
pleasure.
it. It doesn't hurt to reapprove it.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can do that.
That way at least we're covered in case we
reapprove
need to be
it.
reapproving it.
Right.
Yeah, I guess we should. Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned trash, elevators, and mowing, but you didn't give any details on mowing. Last year, we had issues.
I'm saving that
It's
one.
coming.
Building up to it.
Save
All right.
that for last.
Didn't miss anything.
So mowing is a similar situation. In that actual agreement, it has a 2% price escalator built in. So if the district, and with agreement from the contractor, wants to renew, the contractor is able to increase their pricing by 2% in each of the 2 renewal years.
Okay.
The contractor recently came to me and requested an increase beyond 2%. And if
I can't imagine why.
if you just bear with me
Gee
one
whiz,
second,
yeah.
I will find there.
2% a day.
Can't we just buy sheep?
Yeah, lots of goats.
So our current contractor is Tidy Up Landscaping. It's actually, I believe it's a husband and wife team that are former Upper Perk students and graduates.
Yeah, they are local.
Yep, there.
And their note to me says, Tidy Up Landscaping, like other small businesses experiencing the effects of inflation along with significant increases in gas prices, labor rates, equipment/material increases due to supply shortages. We are requesting an 8% increase in each of the next 2-year renewals due to these drastic, unexpected impacts. We hope the school board can understand these reasonable expectations that we continue our successful relationship moving forward. So I thought for discussion purposes, I just did a quick chart to show you what the impact would be if we decide to grant an increase greater than 2%.
Okay, thank you, this makes very helpful, thank you.
So, the contract in itself is about $115,000. It's 28 cuts per year. As you see, 4130 a cut, so that's the entire, all 6 buildings, that's how much we get charged. So if we, the 2% is contractual, so the contract would be going up $2,312. If we were to grant an increase greater than that, you can see how much it would increase per cut and per school year. My personal opinion is I don't believe we should grant an increase in the 3rd year, because we don't have a crystal ball. The fuel prices could correct, and I think it wouldn't be prudent to tie us into an increase 2 years out. So my recommendation would be we'll table that, and then, they're entitled to 2% in year 3, but we don't want to commit to anything more than 2% in year 3. Now, this upcoming year, I can,
Totally get it.
I get it.
How many
When
times?
I looked at this chart, part of it is if we say no, and they're not able to service our account any longer, and we have to go out to RFP again, there's no guarantee that
That will
the
be-
pricing doesn't come in even higher.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in thinking about this and talking to Dan, my recommendation is somewhere in that 4%, maybe 5% range to grant them for this upcoming school year only.
Okay.
But I'm not sure how they're going to react to that.
Yeah, we don't want to have no one. I mean, that's unacceptable too. And if you take into account the custodian issues, the food service issues, like I feel like this is the area where we're gonna get murdered if we don't. Like, we're not gonna find
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
So, they're entitled to 2, they ask for 8, maybe we meet them in the middle at 5.
I would be
For this
okay with
upcoming
5 for
school
this
year,
year. I mean, fuel costs are ridiculous.
But I wouldn't commit to year
Year
3.
3.
Doug, what's the cycle or rotation of mowing, like, relatively speaking, or does it depend on weather, or?
It
So-
does.
So
This is
it's-
something we've been struggling with them, and I've made a mental note, actually, that when we go out to RFP again, it's gonna be much more prescriptive. When, the high school, for example, should be cut on Mondays. Because what'll happen is if they cut on a Thursday at the high school, for example, loop around to the following Wednesday, the grass may be too high.
Right.
In the outfield of the baseball or softball fields, et cetera. And then they've hired, I think their business is growing, so they hired additional staff that's not really familiar with, we've had some issues with them mowing the outfield at, 2:30 in the afternoon on a game day.
Yeah, not even.
So we have to chase, so we've gotten all that corrected. But I think being more prescriptive about when each school should be done is certainly something for the next.
Do they just come around on a rotation on their own, or do you tell them, hey, it's time to mow?
No, they come around on their own.
Okay.
But this company actually has come to me on a few different occasions and skipped a school. They'll come to me and say, Doug, the middle school doesn't need to be cut,
Wow.
so we're
Well,
gonna
that's
we're
nice
gonna
of
skip it.
Yeah,
Which I appreciate. They didn't have to do that.
yep.
And we did say on that, we were not charged. We are charged for each cut, not for, I think you said 28 cuts? Yeah.
Right. So if they skip, they don't
Right,
charge.
okay.
You see,
Yeah.
Right. Which is
Yeah.
certainly appreciated.
Depends on what portion of it.
And overall, they've done a good job. We've had some issues. Similar to other contractors, just rushing, and they may nick a tree, or a soccer net or something gets nicked.
Happens.
But overall, I've been pleased with them.
And what were your thoughts on the 8% for next year?
I don't think we should commit to anything more than the 2% for, I'm sorry, 2 years out. For this coming July 1 to June 30, I'm in the 5% area. Basically meet them in the middle.
I'm okay with that.
You know, we
I
asked.
don't want to lose them again, I think that's a lot.
They're entitled to 2, they're asking for 8, so maybe we
Meet them in the
meet them in the
middle.
middle.
And tell them the 2 is good for the 3rd year, but we can talk about it again.
Right, we're not gonna commit to
Based
8,
on
8
what
against 8 over 8.
Revisit it.
Yeah.
For 2 successive years.
Revisit next year.
Yeah. You
As
guys
you
go
can
with
see, an
that?
8% increase is, just shy of $10,000, and then it would be $10,000 next year.
Good job.
Or
Right.
2 years out, sorry.
So get your CD.
All right, well, I think we're telling you, go ahead and tell them we okay with 5, because we get the fuel thing, that's outrageous. And then tell them for sure, the 2, that they're already supposed to have the 3rd year, but we can re-talk about it at the end of next year. If you're good with that, I think we're all good with that.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because I appreciate that they're local and actually use them for something too, one thing.
Okay,
All
I
right.
will do that.
All right. All right, so RFPs are out on boilers and generators, and we'll vote on that hopefully in June.
Yeah, so you'll have, potentially 5 motions there, plus security guards.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any other questions on that? No?
No.
Good?
Good.
The other update I had quickly was that, we had the discussion about the Hereford Playground
Yes.
last meeting.
Yeah.
We did get all the mulch in and massive pile of mulch, and we got it all spread. We actually had a little bit left over that we moved over to 4-5. Just for the actual safety surface at 4-5 is the spongy.
Yep.
It's just the perimeter around that gets kind of muddy, and then the kids track it in, so we spread some of the extra around the spongy surface. But I was, we had 6 or 7 of us working on it, and it turned out well. We had enough to make sure that we had, the inch per foot of fall height, and I was happy the way it turned out, so.
Good, so that's at least a start.
Yeah.
At least they're safer.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we expanded the area around the swings as well, just to account for,
We need
the
to kick it
swing
out.
height. Yeah.
Yeah, when it's
Right.
gone.
They really get going and then launch themselves and want to be protected, so.
Makes sense. Okay, good. Well, good, thank you. I appreciate the update on that. Anything else?
That's really all I had.
Okay. Anything else
Certainly
from
open it up
anyone?
for questions, but
Okay.
None for me.
All right, we are up for an adjournment?
So just real quick, so no meeting in June, right?
Yep.
That's what we decided, and then
Oh, yeah.
on I think we're gonna stick with the August 22nd
Yes.
facilities meeting. And obviously, if anything happens in between now and then, I'll just email the group or put it, probably a board update.
Okay.
You want that at 6 o'clock or 7? Because there's no meeting before it.
Oh,
6?
we can do 6. I'm okay with 6.
Sure.
All right.
5?
Yeah,
I have to one.
Good.
Doug, are you good to go with 7:07 on Thursday?
Yep, the presentation is ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Okay.
we're ready.
You've anticipated every possible question that could be asked?
Yeah, and some of them are difficult questions, but yes, we're trying, Dr. Farina and I
Yeah.
are prepared as we're going to be.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Good.
He's good.
Even with a little flow over from extracurricular.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
Still
it's
got
okay.
it. And no thunderstorm. That was
That was
good.
coming.
Did we come up with a day? Yeah.
So I want to make sure it's everybody's
You got some personal things?
I'm going to take away from other.
Budgetary overtime. I'm okay with that. Are they okay with the 13th?
He's okay. Yeah, she was good. The only person I didn't back
Okay.
was Judy, but she should be okay with it.
Because she'd be here anyway.
That was the.
Yeah, the finance, yeah.
So, can get back. Then, for 13. So it's good.
Okay, he's good, yeah, 10 minutes ago, right.
She's still okay. And then we'll see.
Okay.
So that's what I was saying. I heard it everywhere.
Okay.
That's
All
what I
right,
did.
I'm good with
I just
that.
wanted to make sure.
No, I see, yeah. You'll see me.
Okay, they did that.
You go to the Western
No,
Center?
that'll be
Board
fine.
tonight.
Turn that
That'll
off. I didn't turn
be,
that
I
off.
think, well, he's
Turn
usually
that off.
pretty
We
quick.
did last
Little
year.
button around there. Depends on
It
how many
was
questions.
good.
Yeah, I read it. I got it.